Welcome to Popular Ideas About Language Learning by Jason Chesser,
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping.
where you will decide who is the best teacher for certain second language learner ideas. There will be 5 sections with 2 teachers, each time battling out for the job to teach second language learners. It is up to you to decide who gets the job after we see their cases. Don't mess up, the kids need the right teacher, not the wrong one. Case 1. Meet Miss Essel. She uses a variety of linguistic structures, some simple and some complex. This will include a wide range of adjustments to allow second language learners to interact with native and advanced speakers easily. She may use more repetition, slower rate of delivery, and paraphrasing. She will allow conversation and practice to notice simple and complex rules within the language. It's a pretty good case. Let's see our next case. Meet Mr. Confusion. Mr. Confusion will only use simple rules until mastered. Then he will move on to complex structures. This will include linguistic forms that are rare in classroom language. He'll only follow textbooks and the unit's organization. He will use isolated practice with the idea that learners must know rules before speaking in social interactions. Another good case, perhaps? So, who will win? Will it be Miss Essel or Mr. Confusion? What do you guys think? It is Miss Essel. Good job. This is Mr. Hoot. This is our next case. Mr. Hoot responds to the student's errors by explicitly pointing out the error. He may say things like, "I think I understand what you are saying, and I'm telling you how you can do it better." This could be seen as embarrassing and create a fear to participate in the classroom. And I don't know if you want that for your students or not, but this is up to you, not me. Our next case, also an animal teacher, but that is okay, is Mr. Trunk. Mr. Trunk responds to students' errors by correctly rephrasing what they have said. This is referred to as recast. This method has the advantage of not interrupting the flow of interaction. This is indirect, polite, and not embarrassing, and may encourage the students to participate in the classroom. So who's it going to be? We have 2 very good cases and a very touchy subject. It's very difficult. It could be between Mr. Hoot, or it could be between Mr. Trunk. This is Mr. Trunk. What do you guys think? This is up to you, not me. Think about it. It is Mr. Trunk. Mr. Trunk is definitely the correct choice. Good job. Our next case is between 2 other teachers. This is Mr. MC Squared. Mr. MC Squared allows students to interact freely in groups or pair talk. He thinks learners won't make more errors when talking in group time. He encourages learners to interpret the meaning of a second language. This will require a lot of interaction and a lot of free time for them to learn the language. So keep that in consideration as we meet our next contestant, our next teacher, who is a lovely lady named Miss Ruler. Miss Ruler uses a structured-based environment with less interaction. She is afraid that students would copy each other's mistakes during the interaction. This information can be provided to help correct errors made during the conversation. So it's up to you to decide if she's right. I mean, she may have a good point that she's afraid that they'll copy mistakes. That's a very, very good point. So it's between Mr. MC Squared right here. Think about him, or it could be Miss Ruler with her very fancy ruler. What do you think? It is Mr. MC Squared, of course. He seems like a very fun and educated teacher, I might add. Time for our next case. This is Mr. Funner. Mr. Funner had a question from a parent that said, should I correct my child at home if he makes grammatical errors? Mr. Funner said, yes! Without corrective feedback and guidance, your child may persist in using certain ungrammatical forms for years. He said that while flying on his cool chair, of course. So should the parent listen to him, or should the parent listen to our other teacher, who is... Let's see who he could be. I don't know if he's going to be as fun as Mr. Funner. His name is Mr. Strict. Mr. Strict had the same question asked to him. Should I correct my child at home if he makes a grammatical error? Mr. Strict said, no, most children are not corrected, even in native language, as long as the meaning is understood. So don't worry about it. He will get it eventually, even if it's a little bit older. So we have two cases. This is very important because the parent asked the question. It could be between Mr. Funner and his cool fancy chair, or it could be Mr. Strict with his cool fancy book. Who's it going to be? It's up to you. Mr. Funner, of course. Who doesn't want a fun teacher? Alright, time for our last contestants, teachers for the job. This is Mr. Coolster. Mr. Coolster is a teacher who wants students to know 1,000 words because that means they can easily participate in conversations with native speakers. So once they know 1,000 words, they can speak with native speakers. He will drill the students on vocabulary so they reach all 1,000 words, maybe even more. He will use basic structure along with the vocab, but it's not the main focus. The basic structure would just mean that students would understand the basic ideas of speaking the second language. This is Mr. Geeky. He's up for the job too. Mr. Geeky wants his learners to learn vocab through reading and conversation. He will also work on communicative skills of culture, like respect and manners. He will also try to go for a lot of vocabulary, but in a different way. He will use reading that is interactive and important to language learners. He likes interaction and communication while also focusing on the cultural aspects too. So his students will have very respectful ideas. So, is it Mr. Coolster? This is your decision. Or Mr. Geeky? Think about it. Who's it gonna be? This is important. Mr. Geeky. Look at this guy. He's even on a movie strip. Cool. So, Mr. Geeky, I think you guys chose some very good teachers. Alright, thanks for playing. I think we hired some good second language teachers. Maybe you could even be a second language teacher. You never know.